Hi there and welcome. I'm Valerie from MotoPress. Today I'm going to show you how to fully translate your hotel booking powered website using WPML. We'll start by installing the required plugins, then we'll set up the languages, translate pages, custom post types, and then work with strings, menus, and language switchers. By the end of this video, your site will be fully multilingual and ready to welcome visitors in multiple languages. So, let's dive in. Alright, before we get started, just make sure your site meets all the minimum requirements listed on the dedicated WPML page. Once that's sorted, you'll want to head over to the WPML downloads page and download the OTGS installer. Then, in your WordPress admin area, just go to Plugins, Add New, and upload the OTGS installer plugin to your site. Okay, activated. Now, after activation, you'll notice a field where you'll need to enter your site key. You can get this key from your WPML account, and this part is important because it's what enables automatic updates for WPML. So basically, enter the key and click Register. At that point, WPML will prompt you to install the required components. First of all, the core plugin, WPML Multilingual CMS, is always required, and it lets you build and manage a multilingual site. On top of that, you can install additional plugins to extend your site's functionality, such as the string translation add-on, which handles text outside of posts and pages. That includes text from themes, plugins, and even widgets. In most cases, this classic duo is honestly more than enough, but depending on your setup, you might need additional plugins. And that part is really up to you and depends on what your site actually needs. So when you've decided, just tick the boxes, click Download, and wait for the plugins to install and activate. Alright, at this point, all the required plugins are in place. One last thing before we move on, and this is important, make sure your theme is activated and that the MotoPress Hotel Booking plugin is up and running and fully configured. Because at the end of the day, this plugin is the main powerhouse of your site and everything else kind of builds on top of it. After installing all the required plugins, you can start the Setup wizard to configure WPML. First, choose the languages you want to translate your site into. You can select just one or go with multiple languages. That part is entirely up to you. Next, decide on the URL format. Step 3 is registering WPML and entering the site key. I've already done this step, so we'll just move on. Then we get to the AI translation step. Here you'll ask to describe what your website is about and who your target audience is. This information helps the AI produce more accurate and professional translations. At the same time, AI translation is not your only option. You can also translate content manually or invite your own translation team. After that, there is a support step. And finally, you can start translating by going to the translation dashboard. Now, that translation dashboard is the central hub for managing all your site's translations from one unified interface. From here, you can choose what content to translate, how to translate it, and also what still needs to be translated. It's a convenient way to get a clear overview of the entire translation process. When it comes to hotel booking, it's especially important to translate key elements like pages, accommodation types, rates, and services. As you can see, all of these appears right here in the dashboard. There are a few other important aspects as well, which we'll cover later, so make sure to stay with me until the end of this video. And before we actually start translating, let me show you a few very important settings. As I mentioned earlier, one of the translation workflow options in WPML is the AI-powered translation. So even though this option existed before, it's now called Private Translation Cloud, or PTC. This is WPML's most advanced AI translation engine, a proprietary system built especially for WordPress, and it uses your site's content, such as the description and target audience, to deliver consistent and highly accurate translations. And that's why we recommend it for efficient workflows and best overall results. WPML's multilingual CMS and agency plans include free translation credits, which are usually enough to translate most sites in 2 or 3 languages. And if you need more credits, you can use the pay-as-you-go model or purchase prepaid credits. Alternatively, you can choose pre-integrated translation engines like Google, DeepL, or Microsoft. In that case, credit usage differs. PTC uses 4 credits per word, and it's the most expensive option, but it's also the only one with the quality guarantee. DeepL uses 2 credits per word. Google Translate also uses 2 credits per word, and Microsoft uses 1 credit per word. All right. Now let me scroll down to the post-type translation settings. There is something important I want to point out here. Some hotel booking content should not be translated because it's used only in the admin area. This includes things like bookings, seasons, accommodations, and similar items. So at this stage, please don't change any of these settings. Okay, getting back to the translation dashboard. As I mentioned earlier, this dashboard gives you a really clear idea of what you're going to translate. So first of all, let's look at pages. This icon here means the page hasn't been translated yet. You can translate pages directly from the translation dashboard. Alternatively, you can go to the Pages menu and click the plus icon to start translating from there. The same logic applies to accommodation types, rates, and services. You can translate all of them either from the dashboard or from their individual menus. When it comes to pages, I'd recommend starting with the system pages. So what are those? You can find them under Accommodation, Settings, in the General tab. This includes pages like the search results page, checkout page, terms and conditions, my account, confirmation page, booking cancellation, and canceled pages. And on top of that, if you accept online payments, make sure to translate the pages selected under the Payment Gateways tab. These are the Payment Success page and the Failed Transaction page. Alright, let's translate some system pages directly from the translation dashboard. For this, I select the page I need and click Translate Your Content. Next, if you're translating into more than one language, you'll need to choose the target language. And if you're translating into just one language, you can simply choose your preferred translation method. Then click Translate. For this example, I'll translate the page automatically. So here I can see how many credits are required and which translation engine will be used. After selecting a review mode, I click Translate. Great, the translation is in progress. Now let's translate another system page, but this time using a different method. For example, translate myself. After clicking Translate, WPML wants me to go to the translations menu, so let's open it together. Here you can see the page in the translation queue. I click Translate, and then I add the translated title. And finally, don't forget to click Save and Complete. Behind the scenes, I've already translated almost every page. So now I can clearly see how many pages I have in English, how many in German, and also the total number overall. Alright, as a final touch, let's translate the home page. I'll go with the automatic method just so you can see how fast this actually is. And there we go. In just a few seconds, the translation is ready. Now, very quickly, let's translate one of the accommodation types for demonstration purposes. I'll do this directly from the accommodation types interface by clicking the plus icon. So here again, I can either translate everything myself or use automatic translation. To save us some time, I'll go with the automatic option. Perfect. If we take another look at the translation dashboard, we can see how many accommodation types are still left to translate. So I'll pause here for a moment, translate all of my accommodation types, and then come back to you. So stay tuned. Alright, we're back. I've now translated all of my accommodation types. As you can see, I have 4 accommodation types in English and 4 in German. Now there is one important detail I want to notice. Pay attention to the accommodation type IDs. First in English and then in German. Each accommodation type has a different ID in each language, and that's how it should be. So once your pages and accommodation types are fully translated, you can move on to rates and services. The principle here is exactly the same, and you can simply choose the interface that's more convenient for you and then select your preferred translation method. Now, when it comes to taxonomy, things like categories, tags, accommodation categories and tags, amenities, and any custom attributes you might have, all of this is translated from the taxonomy translation menu. So make sure you check this section too. Basically, you select what you want to translate and then go ahead and translate it. Very easy. Next, let's move on to string translation. This menu is used to translate text that isn't part of a post, page, or custom post type. For example, widget titles, site taglines, and other text coming from your theme or plugins. Here, you simply search for the keywords and translate the strings you need. For instance, all the text that a shortcode displays on the checkout page must be translated using the string translation module. That includes labels like accommodation, your information, name, email, phone, price breakdown, total, all the payment methods, titles, and descriptions, and so on. So you translate these strings right here by clicking the plus icon. The same module is also used to translate the content of email templates. So again, just use the search field to find the right strings. A small tip here, you can copy and paste text directly from the email template to make sure you don't miss anything important. And one more important note, email tags must stay in English. They are not multilingual and shouldn't be translated. Now, once your content is translated, the translated version of your site also needs its own menu. To do that, go to Appearance, Menus. Click the plus icon next to the language you want to create a menu for. Give the menu a name and choose the same menu location as your original menu. Then add your content, pages, posts, or custom links. When you're ready, click Save Menu. And here we go, this is the final result. So alternatively, you can use WPML Menu Sync. Menu Sync can automatically synchronize your menus for you. Now, besides the menu, there is one more essential step. Adding language switchers. With WPML, you can add multiple language switchers in different locations. For example, you can add them to menus, widgets, to footer, templates, and even directly inside post content. I'm going to add mine to the menu. WPML also gives you a variety of styling options. So you can show flags, display language names in their native form, and tweak other visual settings. What's really nice here is that you get a live preview while setting everything up. Alright, now we can finally check the front end and see the site's translated version. And of course, let's make a quick test booking from the translated version to make sure everything is fully and correctly translated and works exactly as it should. And that's it from me. Now you know how to translate your site and receive bookings from every translated version. I recommend doing a quick test booking and browsing through your translated pages to make sure everything looks and works perfectly before going live. And if you still have any questions, just write them in the comments. We'll be happy to answer all of them. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like this video and check out more tutorials on our channel all about hotel booking and other MotoPress products for professional WordPress sites. And of course, subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any updates. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!